Hello, and welcome to season 1, episode 1 of Siah be Chattin. Oh my gosh, this is actually like crazy to think that like I've always had a thought or dream of like dream is kind of crazy. But I've always had a some type of like motivation on actually like filming a podcast, and not only based off of, keys and like having a little key with you guys and stuff like that, but also being realistic with you guys, being open, having a space where I'm able to be vulnerable with you guys. And that's exactly why I'm able to, I guess you can just say that's exactly why I want to do this now. So yeah, y'all, this is season 1, episode 1. Yes. Let me say this. I can say that I feel like I grew a comfort and love of actually expressing myself. Growing up and doing social media when I was 17 years old. If you guys don't know me, I actually been doing social media since I was 16, 17 years old back in 2019, 2020 when all that quarantineness and all that stuff happened. And it was an opportunity for me to be able to expand my creativity, to get to understand and know myself. Within those years, I actually came out in 2022. DL my whole life, like quite literally, you know what I mean? So I was able to develop this comfort of being able to, for example, talk. I was very uncomfortable with talking on social media platforms, just out of judgment and stuff like that. Just wouldn't even say how I was raised, but just the environment I was put in was very a very toxic masculinity type of thing going on where I was raised and born and lived, So to be in a space where I'm actually able to talk how I talk and love how I talk and embrace it, I can finally put some intention and that effort and exploring it. And that's where this podcast comes into play. I can come to you guys from a very vulnerable state of mind and express to you guys everything throughout this season. This season is going to be so much like of understanding me, my flaws, my pros, my cons, things I admire, things that I stand pretty tall for. And I just can't wait for you guys to hear that. But yes, I did do social media when I was 16, 17. And honestly, I started social media not even having the thought of just having any type of intention of starting it. I feel like back then people were so creative. Like, I feel like people were so creative back then. And I say that in the sense of like people were doing POVs and, transitions and dances was back to back to back to back. Like you couldn't go a good week without there being a good 6 to 7 dances to learn. And that alone, you're trapped in your house, your apartment for Lord knows how long the quarantine was. You see what I'm saying? And you have no choice but to be creative and, be on your phone 24/7. And that's kind of where I came into play. I did start my senior year of high school in 2019-ish, like that fall. I grew kind of a following. I jumped from 100K to 500K within months, and I was like, oh, like you guys are really fucking with the kid. I love that. You know what I mean? So it was cute, and it was more than just a following to me. It just I love that it came to a place where people came to my account to relate to so much things. I had a habit, sounds terrible. I had a habit of making jokes, not even necessarily out of trauma, but just things that I've dealt with growing up and things that I dealt with in high school and middle school. And people are like, you know what? Hell yeah. Like, I went through that too. You see, like developing that type of comfort with people was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not alone in these situations that I've been through when it comes to coming out and experimenting in life and stuff. Like I was able to connect so deeply with so many people that I just found such a comfort on social media, which is like crazy to say now. Like now it's like, ugh, like people are just very toxic on social media platforms now. I hate to say it. But back then, like see me as like Cat from like Euphoria, right? And then I got this poppin' page, but like only difference that people know who the fuck I am. You see, like it's like the only thing. Like people were pretty mean to me in high school. Granted, obviously I was fine shit. You see what I'm saying? I'm not gonna let nobody take that shit away from me, but I was very, I was scolded a little bit. I was kind of bullied. You see what I'm saying? Coming and people be like, "Oh my God, Messiah, you were bullied." Well, yes, well, yes. And I feel like it came from a place of people having, like I said, this toxic masculinity and forcing it on me and like, oh, if you hold your book back this way, you like boys, or why are you walking down this hill like that? You like boys. Mind you, the hill is 12 feet deep. What is we talking about? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just little things like that. So when I came to social media, I didn't feel any sense of judgment. To this day, I still don't feel any judgment from anybody, and that's why I love what I do. Now, granted, is this something I want to do full time? No, I want to be an actor. I want to be a dancer. I want to be a backup dancer. I want to be in scary movies. I want to be in funny movies. Really scary movies. I'm being honest. I love scary movies to the core. Like, I would love to follow that path that Jenna Ortega's in, and people want me for like horror films. Like, I don't know. Like, I want to be that comedic relief character. Like, damn, like this hoe just cut off my arm and I'm bleeding out like ketchup. But like, damn, like I fucked with him, da-da-da, like, is he gonna come back for the next movie? I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my passion, but until that point comes, I'm in a space where I'm able to create and able to explore and put my name out there and make a name for myself and be like, like, I'm Messiah, I do my 1-2, you see what I'm saying? And I'm here to stay, make a little impact type of thing and allow people to feel comfortable. And I feel like coming out kind of pushed me in the room of making that type of content where it's like, especially for Black gay men, that it's okay to be expressive. It's okay to put yourself out there, and it's okay to just be vulnerable and being yourself on these platforms. You see what I'm saying? Granted, like I said, I get judged here and there. You see what I'm saying? It's this world we live in, unfortunately. But with that, the good always outweighs the bad. And I know I'm inspiring and helping people. I've had a lot of DMs and messages of like, Messiah, you helped me come out. You've helped me be able to express myself that I was always afraid to express myself, especially in the times that we're in now. And that alone, if it's one person, if it's 200 people, like those little things makes me feel like what I'm doing is right. So that's where this whole social media journey comes into play, because it was just for shits and giggles. And now I'm doing this to make an impact. You see what I'm saying? At least attempting. I'm trying something new every single day. You see what I'm saying? And with that, I'm highly grateful. I'm truly grateful. I wouldn't be where I am if that wasn't the case. And stuff like that. I wouldn't understand myself or know myself wholeheartedly now as if it was compared to somebody who didn't do social media. You see what I'm saying? And that is something I take, I hold that in passionately. You know what I'm saying? And I love that about myself, that now I'm in a space. This is the most confident I've ever been. Mind you, I'm 22 years old. Obviously, there's still so much room for growth. Nobody's ever fully healed over the things that they go through, but the first star is actually trying, and the smallest efforts make the hugest difference. You see what I'm saying? And I'm very big on the mindset is that you didn't fail until you quit. You see what I'm saying? You could feel like you're failing and things are repetitive. Like, damn, like this shit just keeps happening. This keeps happening. My content's not doing this, doing that. But the moment you stop, you actually failed. You failed yourself and you failed your dream. And that's something I had to learn within this whole influencer thing. And that's why I want to dive a little bit deeper to those who actually want to be an influencer, or just give knowledge to those who just say, oh, like, I wonder how influencers do these, da-da-da. I want to be able to list and give you guys these pros and cons about being an influencer and just be realistic. Okay. Like, I don't want, like, things aren't just peaches and cream. You see what I'm saying? Like, things happen and situations can be complicated and brands can be complicated. And I want to be able to put that out there and make it more normalized to the audience that, like, influencing is it's a very privileged thing to do. I guess I could say it's a privilege to wake up every single day. You see, it's a privilege to be able to have a roof over your head and AC and heat and a bed to lay your head at. You see what I'm saying? So I say that to say that when it comes to influencing and doing social media for how long I've been doing it, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to be able to walk in the rooms that I have walked in. I'm very grateful to be able to get the brands and, meet cool people and have this connection with a lot of influencers who do what I do and genuine people. You see what I'm saying? But you also got to dive into like, the area of like the cons of being an influencer, of meeting very, lack of better terms, shitty people. You see what I'm saying? You got to deal with that. You got to deal with, payouts. And if payouts aren't paid out when it needs to be paid out, you need to deal with a lot of stuff comes with being an influencer. And I feel like I personally hate the word influencer, if I'm being honest. I'm like, y'all just know me as a nigga who make you laugh, who can dance, put that shit on. And I'm super pretty, super thick. You see what I'm saying? But like this whole social media influence thing is like, it's cute, but it's like, that's not something I want to be known for. Like, at least not forever. Like you never know how long things are going to be here for. And that's the biggest reason on why I'm encouraging those who are doing social media. Like, make sure you always have a backup plan. You see what I'm saying? Like, you never know, anything could happen. Like, I bet all those people who were doing Vine, they had no idea it was just going to shut down and just get canceled. You know what I mean? So a backup plan and making some type of impact in a efficient way, whether that's financially and, what I'm saying, you have a fan base and stuff. I feel like those are very crucial things to make sure you keep in mind when you're doing the social media. It comes with a lot of baggage. It truly does, y'all. Like, it truly does. Now, when we talk about payments, when we talk about brand deals, and we talk about, like that whole, what's the word? That whole point. Let's just say that whole section. Let's say section. That's cute. It can be very complicated. It can be very stressful. There's a lot of stress that comes with social media because not everything is certain. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things is not certain. You could get paid. You could get paid in 30 days. You could get paid in 60 days. Hell, you can get paid in 90 days. You see what I'm saying? And it's never something that's on your end. It's something that always lies on the brand's end. Every single time, I cannot make that up. You know what I'm saying? And with that can come a lot of stress and overthinking. Like, oh my gosh, like, especially you have like a reliance on brands. And, that is your source of income. Sometimes you can get like, ooh, like I'm on my toes a little bit because you guys didn't pay me in the past 2-3 months. You know what I mean? But granted, the best thing when it comes to that is keeping in mind that at the end of the day, you're getting paid. You see what I'm saying? That's always always got to see things from a bigger picture because perspective is everything. Perspective is literally everything. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to have that in the back of your mind, like, you know what? Damn, just this example, like, damn, I made amount of money for this promo and I did it in December, but they're saying I'm not going to receive it till February. February comes and now you're not receiving it until March. To keep in the back of your mind, now obviously that's very frustrating because you have this timely manner, you're doing things around the time that payments is going to be pushed out and stuff like that. But to always keep in your mind with that it's going to come regardless, you know what I'm saying? And obviously when you have management, which is, we're going to get into that as well. When you have management, they are able to do things and allow these things to be escalated a little bit quicker. And they're able to say, hey, you haven't paid my client. And if this isn't done in a certain amount of times, we will have to take action. You see, things like that is very reassuring. You're like, you know what? Like, a lot of things don't lie on you. And that's where managers come into play, managements and stuff. I didn't have a management my first couple of years of doing social media. And I gained a good, I gained like a good $1 million or $2 million within like a year and a half. I didn't really start looking for managements until I was getting close to that 2 million mark. But besides that, I wasn't paid for anything. And I feel like it wasn't even like, damn, I wasn't getting what I was worth. But back then in 2020, 2021, honestly, I didn't feel the need to get paid for anything. You see what I'm saying? I was doing it strictly because it was fun. It was funny. I went on TikTok to make 20,000 different videos in one day just because it was funny to me. I giggled. I was like, you know, if I can giggle, I can make somebody else giggle to a different perspective or a different type of context to this video. So mind you, around this time I was 17, 18 years old. So I didn't really have this urge to make money off of social media. It was just something that I just did to let time fly by, and I was just having fun. I was a teenager having fun, and I was working 3 jobs at the time. I was working at Target. I was a manager at a yogurt shop. I was working at Zoomies or Tilly's. I was working at Tilly's at the time. So I was like, this is the only time I have to actually make videos and in my little free time, my fun. And I kid you not, there was literally times I was working at the yogurt shop and stuff like that, and they hated that I made TikTok videos there. I said, I don't give a damn. Y'all gonna have to suck this shit up. I'm so sorry. Like I got to have some type of fun being at this yogurt shop for hours. You see what I'm saying? So I didn't really think about getting a management until, I was like, you know what? I'm about to be in my 20s, my 19, 20-year-old self. And I was like, I want a management. I want somebody who's able to manage me. And when it comes to management, they handle so much. They handle being able to pitch you and give you brand deals and put you out there to get song promos and stuff like that. Sending you out to events and promoting events and stuff like that. And, giving you advice on what you need to do, what they know that your audience is attracted to and what they cling to the most. And they'd be like, you know what, let's go towards this direction a little bit more because I see your audience is eating this up a little bit more than this other content you're making. You see? And I feel like that type of reassurance goes a long way when it comes to trusting your management. Now, granted, obviously, there's a lot of not so good managers out there for surely. I've had my fair share of them here and there, but my management I'm with now, I absolutely love them. They are genuinely so supportive. And I feel like my biggest thing when it comes to management is not only building a business relationship, but building a friendship with them as well, where it's like, let's say you're having a really rocky week. You're like, you know what? Hey, I'm kind of going to hold off on brands and promos for this week, just due to my mental state. Like, I hope that's okay. And they're not like, oh no, you got to do these deals. Now, if you already accepted deals, then yes, you need to do it. It's going to look bad on the management's end. It is not always going to look bad on yours. It's going to really look bad on them, which would withhold getting brand deals from other people and other companies and stuff. But just simply, if you don't have any brand deals, if you didn't accept any yet, and sometimes you just need a moment, like, you know what, I actually need a little break. Can we just pause these campaigns and these brand deals for a little bit, and I'll be back into motion next week? They're like, you know what? Yeah, like for sure. Let me know if you need anything. Those little things matter so much, because sometimes we can get so washed out, and not even washed out. What's the correct term? Like very burned out. You can get very burned out doing social media all the time, and you're making content every single day and doing this and doing that. And, comparison can be a thing. And that's really the biggest thing when it comes to social media. Sometimes we can get in our head of comparison, like, oh my gosh, like I wish I was here. You see, oh, they look really good doing this and this, but that's not doing nothing but setting yourself up for failure. I'm very big on, if you play the role as a victim, the universe has no other reason but to victimize you. You see what I'm saying? So when I'm seeing somebody who, the example, got a Lamborghini truck and they're shaking ass in Dubai on Beyonce's yacht, I'm not gonna be like, oh my gosh, like I wish I was there. Now, obviously, yeah, like of course, you see what I'm saying? But at the same time, I see that as motivation. I see that as inspo. Like, you know what? Like, people portray these images online and they may not be the exact same way in person or what they're actually going through in their real life. We show you the happiness. We're not going to post our struggles and post what we go through and stuff like that. And keeping that in mind is very reassuring, which sounds bad, but it is true that we all got our own shit going on. You see what I'm saying? Like, even me, like I went through a very traumatic era of mine this past summer, and all I posted was pictures that held meaning to me that nobody could just look at and read deep into it and know what it means. But I know what it means. You see what I'm saying? But to you, it's like, oh, it's Messiah. He just got his hair done. but maybe there's a message behind it that you don't know, but I know. And it's a way for me to express myself. So little things like that, it comes into play of knowing like you never truly know what somebody's going through. That's why I feel like the ideal image of social media and when it comes to relationships, you see people posting relationship or they're in couples or couple pages and stuff like that. That alone, you're not going to see a couple posting their arguments, posting their disagreements, posting when they don't see eye to eye. They're going to show you the love. They're going to show you getting roses and going on dates and stuff. And then out of nowhere, they just break up. You see what I'm saying? And it catches you off guard because, oh my gosh, like you guys seemed like you're doing good, but that's the point. They're putting out this image to come off and portray that everything's peaches and cream just out of the sake of not posting negativity or really just tapping into their real life onto social media, you see? So that's one of the biggest things when it comes to that. So instead of, like I said earlier, instead of seeing it as like, damn, I'm not where I want to be and this is, I want to be there, you can see it as, I'm inspired. This is something I want to do. This is something I love doing this. I love creating content. I love expanding my brand. And Rome wasn't built in a day. You know what I'm saying? Rome was not built in a day. And that alone speaks so much volume. And consistency is key, you guys. Consistency is key, okay? If you don't trust yourself, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else can believe in you, okay? On those days, and I'm so big on saying this, on those days you don't feel like doing anything, that should be the moment you do it the most. I had to truly lock in and learn that because I would sit in my bed and bed rot and scroll, and you never know how long you're scrolling until you check your phone and 3 hours just went by and the sun goes down in 2 more hours. You just wasted your whole potential of making content and putting yourself out there. And even like, you know, the littlest bit of effort is something better than nothing. And that is what's really crucial when it comes to making content. Okay. You're not going to get, and if you do, period, you're not going to see, you can't base what you want to do with social media off of views. And that's something I had to learn super early. I had to learn that when I was 17, 18. And that was really why I was posting so much content back then, because I was like, damn, this video didn't do good. Let me do another one. But you're pushing out so much content and it's not authentic to yourself. You're doing it for the viewer's eye and not really for yourself. And you're going to beat yourself up about it because you're like, I'm putting out all this content and nobody's getting views. I'm not getting views for it. I'm being consistent. But you know, quality over quantity is everything. Quality over quantity is everything when it comes to it. You see what I'm saying? So with me, I had to learn that as well. And I had to really embrace that and really just be still and sit in those moments. Like, I want to perfect my craft. I can't rush my craft. I can't just put out things. I can't put out things to this viral sound. And it's going to do numbers because it's a viral sound, but there's a new viral sound every single week. You do a sound, you get washed out. You do a sound, nobody makes albums no more. Like, you do a sound, it goes away. Okay, our attention span to this day is very small, very limited. So you're putting out all these things back to back to back to back, and you got to keep catching up and sticking to the trends instead of sticking with things that is authentic to you, what you want to put out, and what's going to actually make a difference. You see, that's where you could see the most impact and see the biggest difference when it comes to your content is when you're putting out things that's not only authentic to the audience and their eye, but it's true to what you want to put out and what you are and who you are as a person. And that alone is so important. It's so important. And that's something I struggled with for so long. And it's a crazy journey, but the journey is truly so worth it. You know, that's just like one of the cons out of being an influencer is just that whole tangent. Pros can be like going on brand trips and having, you know, your hotel and your planes, hotels and your flights paid for and stuff like that. And you're getting these giftings and giftings. I love giftings so much. I love giftings. Just due to the sense of being able to have an opportunity to change your content based off what you're gifted. And, you know, you can attract a brand or a partnership. They could send you something for free. They're like, oh, like, try our new product. You promote it a certain way where it really catches their eye. You promote it in a way where they can see that you are paying attention to their content. Like, let's say, for an example, let's say I had a Dick's packaging of some shorts, muscle tee, and some socks. Okay. Now, if you pay attention to their campaigns and you look and you do a deep dive on what they post, how their campaigns look like, you'll see that they're always outside. You'll see that they're playing football or any type of sport. You see what I'm saying? So in my knowledge, I would take that in and make it authentic to myself, but also make sure it matches the brand as well. So what I would do, like, for an example, if I got a muscle tee and some shorts and some socks, you see what I'm saying? I'm going to make sure I have a shot of every single one of those items in a whole throughout that whole video. I'll make it look very sporty, very, very outside-y. You know what I'm saying? I'll probably do me running on track. I used to run track when I was in high school. So, I would probably base it off of me getting in the blocks and jumping the hurdles and doing 4x1s with my friends, but you see my outfit in those shots. You see what I'm saying? Little things like that. They're like, you know what? We liked what he did with this gifting. They would be like, you know what? I really like your work. I like how you went, the direction you went towards this. I love your creative direction. Let's give you a contract and offer you a brand partnership for so and so months. That is such a blessing. That right there, you just set yourself up for success, because not only did you just take this brand and you made a video and you promoted it on your own behalf, because sometimes when you get giftings, it's really your choice if you want to promote it or not. But when you do and you're like, you know what, I'm going to flip this and I'm going to show them that I pay attention, that I have intention behind my work, they're going to value that so much. And then they're going to pitch you. They're going to be like, you know what? I need him on my campaign. And that alone, you just set yourself up for a good couple of months. Thank you. You just set yourself up for a good 12, 15 months. Contracts can range between 3 to 12 months easily. You're getting giftings back to back. I need you to promote this. I need you to promote this. I need you to promote this. That is a huge plus when it comes to being an influencer and doing, social media. And that all comes into play of making sure you're putting out things that is authentic to yourself, because people love that. They are attracted to that. They want to see that. They love that influence. So that's something that is very important to keep in mind when it comes to being an influencer. I feel like another crucial thing to always keep in mind, this is actually a really good one as well. Another crucial thing to always keep in mind, whenever you are receiving a promo sound of the such, it is very, very important to make sure whenever they're giving you a deliverable and they're giving you a certain time frame to have it sent in and posted, it's very, very important to make sure you're following that. It's so important. It's so important. And I say that in the sense because it gives them room to be able to tell you if there needs to be some type of editing to your video. Like, instead of having this at this part, can we try pushing it towards this end? You see, those little nitpicks will allow the brands to really like your video. You can't just post a video and not have it approved. You can't do that. That's a terrible thing to do. Brands are not going to work with you if you post what you want to post or when you want to post it. If it's in their direction, they're obviously going to give you the creative direction and give you the space to be able to put out how you would authentically put out if it was your content, your brand. But if they're like, I didn't really like how you was shaking your cheek in that 17 second of that video, it gives them time to be able to do that. So you really got to make sure that rollout is always very efficient and make sure it's very in a timely manner. So it gives them time. You don't want to have a promo sent to you on Monday. They're asking for it on Wednesday, or no, that's really close. Let's do this. Let's say you have a campaign that's sent on Monday and they're saying, we need this posted by Saturday. That gives you Monday till Friday for them to actually look at your video and edit it. Now, me, if I got that on Monday, I will probably have that video sent in on Wednesday to give them that Thursday and Friday to tell me if I need any revisions. And once you get that approved, you put that schedule on, you schedule your post, and girl, you kicking your feet up and now you about to get paid. You see what I'm saying? But if you make the video on a Friday, you make the video on Friday and you got to post it on Saturday, they'd be like, girl, like what's going on, sir? What's going on? You see what I'm saying? They not really going to rock with you like that because your timing was terrible. And like I said, that always goes back to the management, and it's going to put the management in a position of like, I'm so sorry, my client, And for a brand to reach out to you in the first place, that means they trusted you and they trust your process and trust your work. But you didn't show up the way you were supposed to show up. So now you just lost a brand deal and any potential opportunities that they can offer. There's so many moments that you can be put in on you getting one brand deal, and then the next 2 weeks, they're like, you know what, we want to work with him again. And they have a different campaign. And then a different campaign. And they have you on their PR list. They have you on their list of this influencer that they want to work with. But you got to make sure you show up as well. Very important. Very, very, very important. So that's one thing when it comes to branding and when it comes to, promos and stuff like that. And I talked about it briefly when it comes to promos. There's obviously payout times, and payout times can actually happen earlier sometimes. Sometimes they can happen later, you see. And I feel like the best advice I can give for that is just to keep your head up and keep it pushing. You're going to receive it. I feel like one of the biggest things that I had to learn for myself is that I do the promo. I know I'm getting paid regardless. Obviously, it's hard to just go by, time. Honestly, it's hard to just gauge like, I'm going to get paid at this time. I don't have that mindset. My mindset is that I'm going to get paid when it's time to get paid. It's going to be an estimate. It could be the paid within 30 days, and I'll get it on that 35th day. Now, obviously, I'm going to keep track of the days, but I'm not going to stress myself out once it hits day 31 and I'm not paid yet. You see, at the end of the day, brands have other people to pay out. It's a very long process sometimes, depending on the payout amount and depending on what the net is. So there's just that's one of the biggest things of keeping that in mind and being patient with that. And you put out this one brand or this one promo, let's get to the next one. Let's get to the bag. You see what I'm saying? There's so much money in the world. So don't ever feel like you're limited to just one promo and you have to just wait on that promo. You can rack them up and have them coming back to back to back to back, developing that consistency, developing that consistent income. So there's not a space where you're worried or stressing out about you not getting paid on the 4th of July, but you just got paid on the 7th. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's one of the biggest things that I myself had to actually learn. So, and just those things is just very important when it comes to that. So just remaining consistent. So just remaining consistent and just keeping your head high. I gotta keep my head high. I'm sorry. I'm really getting used and I'm really new to this whole, podcast thing. So sometimes my podcast might just come off as a FaceTime call. Like, if I'm being honest, it's giving, hey, Stink, let me give you some advice that I feel like I needed to hear when I first started. This is why this is an episode 1, season 1 type of thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, just trusting the process of this whole process of being an influencer and being. So if this is something you want to take seriously, there's so much room for everybody to create. I don't want people thinking that there's not enough room for there to be more influencers. We need more influencers. We need more Black influencers. You see, we need people who's out here making a difference and showing that we're not limited to the standard that, other people don't, see us the light. They don't see us in that light, I guess you can say. That's why it's so big to make sure you're very intentional when it comes to making content, because you just don't want to just post and then, you waited 2 weeks to make another post and now you got to start from scratch again. You want to make sure they are seeing your face. You see, like, you know what? You're going to see me. One thing for sure, 2 things for certain. All right. Like, you're going to see me. And that's my biggest thing. It's like, for me, I like putting that shit on. I like looking cute, but I also like being funny. I like being cute. I like being funny, but I also like working out. I like giving people advice on working out because I used to be skinny mini in 2020. Y'all seen the clips. And if y'all haven't, I was maybe 140 pounds. I'm 5'11". I was 140 pounds. I was 18, 19, maybe 150, give or take. I'm damn near touching 180. You see what I'm saying? And it ain't nothing but muscle. Nothing but muscle and ass, okay? So I'm able to be in the position to be able to put people on to game and put people on to what I did and how I did things when it comes to my social media and stuff like that, when it comes to my fitness journey. And before, I wasn't in the position to feel comfortable of exploring that. I wasn't comfortable of being able to actually show that side of me because I was scared of judgment. It was something that I resonated with for years because I felt like I kind of grew up being judged, like you weren't able to fully express yourself or be passionate about something that you want to do without being judged. And that's something that we lack in our community. Like we feel the need to nitpick somebody's creativity when we really should just be focusing on ourselves and our own creativity and making rooms for others to be creative and make it come from a place of no judgment. And that's something that I want to make sure I'm putting out in the universe. And that's where this podcast comes into play. I'm going to be kikiing with you guys. I'm going to talk about my viewpoints of things, but I'm also going to talk about mental health. I'm going to talk about stability. I'm going to talk about, things that people don't really bring to light because, they're scared to talk about it. They're scared to admit that things happen the way they do and we're put in certain situations to test us. And I'm very big on that. I'm very big on that. And I want to make sure I'm able to share that light with other people who have doubts, who have these, times of worry and, all of those things as a whole, because we all deserve success at the end of the day. And obviously success comes with the ups and downs when it comes to social media, when it comes to anything, when it comes to your career path. I feel like the advice I'm giving you now, whoever is listening to this right now, the advice I'm giving to you now is that it still applies in any career path that you want to pursue. Be consistent and trust yourself and believe in yourself and know that you can't have a moment of doubt. And it's okay if you do, you see, but I want to say try to steer away from it and just keep your head high. And if it's something you're passionate about, don't even worry about what anybody else got to say. At the end of the day, this is what you want to do. This is your passion. This is what you love to do. Don't let nobody else tell you you can't do it because that's in their view. That doesn't have to be your view. That doesn't have to be your story at all. At all. And I had to truly learn that. I actually went on an isolation in January to really just explore myself and get connected and be more self-aware of myself and love myself wholeheartedly. But that's a conversation for another episode. Thank you. But I had to go through all of these things and I was able to find my passion within that hiatus that I took. And I was like, I love dancing. I started my TikTok with dancing and I love it. I love dancing. I love coming up with new moves. I love being fluid. I wasn't able to truly be fluid with my dancing because, I didn't come out. I was scared of judgment. I was scared of tapping into my feminine side and mix my masculine side. I can do it all. Finally, I'm free and I love doing it. And I'm able to do that and express myself and put myself in rooms because I did the work needed to do that. You know what I'm saying? And one of the biggest things that I had to take away from that, and I'm telling you this as well, friend, you're never going to be ready. You're never going to be ready. You can't be like, you know what? I'm going to start going to the gym once I get my gym clothes. Now, granted, we want to look sexy in the gym. Don't get me wrong. But you're going to keep pushing back your progress and you're going to keep pushing these things back. And it's just going to be the same cycle. Okay, I gotta wait for I gotta wait for these Nike shoes to come in. You know what? I actually gotta wait for my pre-workout and stuff to come in. Just show up. Showing up is the first biggest step of them all. You showed up, and with that alone, you develop that consistency and that comfort of actually being able to put yourself out there and making a conscious effort of sticking to your word and sticking to what you want to do and what you believe in. You know what I'm saying? So that's the biggest thing. You know how many times I went to the gym and I just sat on the floor? I said, I don't want to be here, Lord. I don't want to be here. You know what I'm saying? But I showed up. Now, obviously, I'm going to get up and do my workout, but there's been many times I get to the gym at 5 a.m., 5:30, and I just stare at the mirror. I'm like, I'm tired. I don't want to do this right now. I want to be in my bed. But there's 24 hours in a day, okay? 12 of them hours, which you're actually up. You see what I'm saying? So there's so much you can do within those 12 hours. And it really starts with you and what you believe in and what you visualize yourself doing in the future. What you do now is setting yourself up in the future. I'm trying to be kicking my feet up, being fed grapes, and I'm trying to be in Dubai with my ass out. You see what I'm saying? But I got to do the work to get to that position. I got to do all the things I need to do. When it comes to that, I want to be on tour with certain artists. I'm not going to tell you guys those artists yet because I want it to be a surprise. But I want to be on tour with so many different artists. But let's say I want to go on tour and I want to dance with people, but I'm not dancing. I'm not filming. I'm not putting myself out there. 1 view is enough. 10 views is enough. 100 views is enough. Okay? At the end of the day, you're putting yourself out there. Somebody is going to see you. And not only just for other people, but for yourself. You know you're making a conscious effort to put yourself out there. And that's truly all that matters. Truly all that matters. So always just always keep that in mind. And we kind of got off topic, but I say all that to come back to the biggest point is that consistency is everything. Staying persistent, staying positive, being filled with love and passion. Those are the biggest things in this universe that we as a collective need to have to be successful, happy, and thriving. It's the biggest thing. It's the hugest thing, So just always keep that in mind. If you want to do social media as a job, if it's something that you really admire and you love it, do it. Do it. Life is too short. Do it, but it starts with you. It's always going to start with you. You want to do it? Sit that phone up and film your video. You could film your video and stare at the camera for 30 seconds long, for a minute long, and not know what you're going to say yet until it clicks you. It's going to click. But it starts with you. You got to trust yourself. Always remember that. Always remember that. It's always going to start with you. And with that, I'm going to end this with saying this. We are all capable of greatness. There's room at the top for everybody. All of us can win. Okay? That's one of the biggest things. But it always is going to start with you, what you want for yourself, with your intention, how you're going to intentionally do what you need to do to get yourself to the top. Because anything can happen. Anything can happen in 10 minutes. Anything can happen in 5 minutes. Anything can happen. But you got to believe it can happen. I'm a very optimistic person. I am a very, very, very optimistic person. And I am able, and I'm glad and grateful that I'm able to pass on my optimism to those who don't have it, who's not as positive. And that's okay. It's completely fine. It's completely validated. We go through things. We go through motions in life that is challenging. But you got out of that situation. You got that job. You stood on business on anything that could have broke you down or damaged you. You came back up bright as ever. Apply that in every single aspect in your life, and I promise you're going to thrive. I promise you. I believe in you, friend. We got this. This is our year. And this is why I told myself that instead of holding off on filming this, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to pick up my phone. I'm going to pick up my mic and I'm just going to film. And that's exactly what I did. So, like I said earlier, if you take anything from this message, consistency is key. Discipline over motivation. And it starts with you. Okay, you're never going to be ready. Just do it. But that wraps up season 1, episode 1 of this podcast. Again, this is Siah Be Chattin podcast. Make sure you share it with a friend. Share it with somebody that you feel like who needs to hear this message, because we all need a good word at the end of the day. This is so crazy. I didn't expect me to actually do this, but I'm proud of myself. And now I'm about to go on my run. So you guys have a blessed day, whenever day you're watching this. Have a blessed one. Trust yourself, trust the process, and believe in yourself. I believe in you, but you gotta believe in yourself. All right. Mwah.